Hello and welcome to Galahad Reviews. I'm Galahad and today I will be reviewing the Finalmouse Ultralight 2. Finalmouse is an interesting company because they were the first in a lot of areas, which has led them to be a significant forerunner in driving innovation and progress forward to the point that many of the top gaming mice out today follow in their footsteps. However, I have lost respect for them as a brand, so we will be discussing both in today's video. It's going to be split into two parts or else this will be simply too long. So without further ado, let's dive in. Starting off with a quick review, I will expand on some of these points later in the video, but a quick summation. Their packaging sucks. It is super cheap and feels poor quality. I have previously discussed that having a quality packaging can leave a good first impression about a product and even make a product that isn't as good seem better. Instead, I am left thinking I bought a $20 mouse out of a bargain bin. And since I paid $120 for this, that is simply unacceptable. Now, before you crucify me in the comments, I get that it is just packaging that most people will throw away anyways. However, Finalmouse sells their mice as collector's editions, in which case the box that it comes with is just as important as the product itself. Anyways, I've spent way too long on that. It is a very small mouse, like minuscule, paltry. Like in pictures, it looks big, kind of like Tom Cruise, but then you meet him in real life and he's 5'7", and I'm allowed to say that because we share a first name. I've owned this mouse for about 10 months. It is very lightweight and small, made for people with small hands or for those who use palm/claw grip. With the infinity skins, you can change the shape to better fit different hand sizes and grip styles. However, this adds weight, and in the case of adding to the left side of the mouse, can make the side buttons more difficult to press as they become flush with the device, leading them to be very similar to the Razer Viper Ultimate, which was a point that a lot of people disliked about that mouse. For me, I leave it stock with a hand size of 19.3 by 10.4 centimeter hands, which comes out to being almost exactly average. Luckily for me, my mouse comes in at 47 grams, which is the lightest you will find on the market by a significant margin, only being beaten by the M1K, which is fugly. Second, the most ridiculous shape I have ever seen, and third, made from complete carbon fiber. Most other mice around this size are around 60 grams. Despite being this lightweight, it does not creak and feels incredibly solid. It comes with an average sensor, the PMW 3360, that is still flawless. All clicks require a light amount of pressure and are very crisp with mild travel. The scroll wheel is a bit mushy for me with ill-defined steps. It comes with a phantom cord, which is a shoelace type material that is very flexible. Add that to 100% PTFE feet that are rounded, and you have yourself a wired mouse that feels wireless. Some will find that between the weight and the feet that they overshoot their target and need to change their mouse pad or lower their DPI. Others say that it is simply too small or too lightweight for their preferences. It uses 500 Hz polling rate, and you can choose between 400, 800, 1200, 1600, and 3200 DPI. It does not have RGB, does not come with software, and is now only available on the third-party market. Overall, this is a great mouse that is ridiculously overpriced. Did I mention that it's seriously overpriced? It should be around $40 to $50. I could live with $60 to $80, but not $120 or more. All right, so that is the end. Wait, what? It isn't the end of this video. We've still got a whole lot more things to talk about. Anyways, like this video if you're enjoying it so far, dislike it if you aren't, and for those interested, we are moving on to the history of Finalmouse, how they are a huge player in the gaming mouse market, and why I lost respect for them as a brand. So let's get nerdy with a quick history lesson. Finalmouse was the first company to develop a full honeycomb design, which allowed them to dramatically cut down on weight while still maintaining a medium to large size mouse. Their first iteration of this brought the weight down to 67 grams, which included the Finalmouse Ultralight Pro and the Phantom, which released early 2018. The second generation, the Ultralight Air 58, shaved off another 9 grams by putting holes in the sides and bottom of the mouse, which left it at 58 grams, hence the name Air 58. This came out around the end of 2018. The third generation, dubbed Ultralight 2, kept the same design but moved from a medium/large chassis to a small one, which took off an additional 11 grams and made it weigh in at 47 grams. It came out mid-2019. Despite this honeycomb design, they continue to have excellent structural integrity with a bonus of helping with grip. A lot of people out there are worried about the board getting damaged or dirty due to the holes, though they don't specifically mention it as they rarely state anything concrete about their products, but instead go into full marketing jargon about shifting the universe. I would bet money that they treated the inside of the mouse with a material that prevents damage from water and dust. Plus, have you looked at the inside of your computer lately? I'm sure that it is also filled with dust, yet it works just fine. That's not to say that you shouldn't clean it out, but it is working. This hasn't been a problem for me at all. They also frequently mention going out into nature with their mice. I don't recommend mowing the lawn with this as like a chain or something and getting grass in it. That doesn't seem ideal to me, but hey, if that's your jam, make sure to take a picture and tag me on Twitter because I want to see it. Each one of these designs have kept the race going for creating lighter and lighter gaming mice. This design has now been imitated by multiple companies such as Cooler Master, Glorious, G-Wolves, and Extrafy. Despite this, only the Razer Viper Mini, Glorious Model O-, and Cooler Master MM710 have been able to achieve 60 grams or less, and each of these are small mice compared to medium to large. So this feat is incredibly impressive on Finalmouse's end. Despite the holes and their lightweight design, none of my Finalmouses, which include the Ultralight Pro, Ultralight Phantom, Air 58, or Ultralight 2, have had any creaks and have always felt super solid. Next, starting with the Ultralight Phantom, they added the Phantom cord that is cursed and will strangle you in your sleep. I mean, it's a shoelace type material that makes your cord very flexible and doesn't murder people in their sleep. It was improved further on the Air 58 and then even further on the Ultralight 2, with each iteration getting a tighter weave while remaining just as flexible. Others have now tried to add this to all their mice, such as Razer's Speedflex cable, Cooler Master's Ultra Weave cable, and Glorious's Ascended cord, all of which hold top spots in the gaming mice market. The idea originated from people doing their own paracord mods to replace their crappy stiff rubber/texturized stock cord with a material that is highly flexible to reduce drag and make wired mice feel wireless. Last, with the Ultralight 2, they took each mouse to a class, taught them good manners and how to dress, while also making sure they were celibate by adding well-rounded 100% virgin PTFE feet, which allowed them to look like quite the catch by reducing the overall drag and improving smoothness, which companies are also starting to implement more and more into their mice, which means we no longer have to deal with their gross, pre-treated, non-organic, non-GMO, fat, sugary PTFE feet that we have had to peel off and replace with hyperglides or similar previously. Moving on to other specs of the mouse that are not groundbreaking and are completely run-of-the-mill, starting with the sensor. Each of their mice comes with the PixArt PMW 3360, which is used in a ton of mice. By today's standards, it is outdated based on specs, but it is still considered to be a flawless sensor that boasts 250 inches per second of tracking, up to 12,000 DPI, and 50G acceleration. You can even buy it directly from PixArt if you so wish. However, it needs firmware to operate. Finalmouse claims that they have superior firmware. However, they are prone to hyperbole, and I have no way of substantiating this claim, so I will let you make up your mind on that. But they decided upon going with 500 Hz over 1000 Hz polling rate because it's more stable and uses less system resources, which I could get into more, but put simply, with computers being so powerful these days, that's not going to be an issue anymore. but whatever. Where you feel the difference here is if you have shakes, so if your hand is shaking just a little bit, at 500 hertz, it will be far less noticeable compared to if you have it at 1000 hertz. As at 1000 hertz, it is more responsive, meaning that micro adjustments will be noticed where they will not be, or they will be reduced at 500 hertz, which is why people perform better at a lower hertz, as it helps tune out user error. You will not be able to tell the difference unless you try 500 hertz next to 1000 hertz. It does not affect response time in any noticeable way. You also have your choice of 400, 800, 1200, 1600, or 3200 DPI, which you can select by pressing the DPI button in between the left and right click. This button feels very crisp and requires a light amount of pressure to actuate and does not wiggle when moving the mouse. There is no official way to adjust this, as they do not have any software, because software is for losers, at least according to them. However, you can use the Dream Machine DM1 software to adjust it if you so wish. This can void the warranty and is not officially supported, so I don't recommend using it. I never noticed a problem with it when I used it for my Air 58, but it negatively impacted my performance with the Ultralight 2. It also comes with Omron mechanical switches, which are rated for 20 million clicks, that require a light amount of pressure to actuate with a mild amount of travel. They have no creaking or movement. They also feel very, very crisp and are one of my favorites. Seriously, they are great. The side buttons also require a light amount of force to actuate. None of them wiggle. Out of all the mice I've tried, their side buttons are my absolute favorite. When I shake it, there is zero rattle. Last is the scroll wheel. It is sloppy, deprecated, and gelatinous. What about that word choice? No, not digging it. Fine, it has very loose steps, feels cheap and squishy / mushy, and not in a cute way. Personally, I disapprove strongly, but that will vary from person to person. It also is known as a failure point, which they claim to have improved on with each generation. However, I feel zero differences between my Air 58 and my Ultralight 2. If you are one of those people who enjoy mushy, gross scroll wheels, leave a comment below, you heathen, so I can publicly shame you by giving your comment a thumbs down. Moving on to performance. So I try to practice what I preach in all things. When I tell you that you shouldn't focus on the specs of a product and instead focus on shape, size, and weight, I truly do believe that, as the Razer Viper Ultimate specs completely crush this mouse. However, since the Ultralight 2 is my ideal shape, size, and weight, I place more high scores with it than I do with the Razer Viper Ultimate. I do still believe that the Focus Plus sensor helps dramatically with my aim, because it is a lot more accurate, especially since the Razer Viper Ultimate often scores as good or better despite not having the ideal shape and size for me. If you were to add the Focus Plus sensor into the Ultralight 2, I think I would have god tier aim. No joke. But this just proves that the PMW 3360 is still no slouch and can hold its own in the ring and allow you to perform at high levels. Moving on to possible problems you may encounter with this mouse. Based off of 219 reviews on Amazon, 188 of them were positive and 31 of them were negative. 6 of these have nothing to do with the mouse itself, with an average rating of 4.5 out of 5. Most notably, and to be expected, 4.5% of users had problems with a button not working for the left or right click, in comparison with the Razer Viper Ultimate having 4.3% and the Logitech G Pro Wireless having 10 to 15%, which are the only 3 mice I have done this type of research on. Additionally, 1.36% had a button get stuck, 0.91% had a broken scroll wheel or the mouse fell apart, and last, 0.45% of users had their cursor stop working or the top of the mouse loosened. Others reported that it was too small or too light. However, it is marketed as a small mouse and is the lightest mouse on the market, so yeah, that's to be expected. This is the end of part 1 of this review. Part 2 will include some drama about Finalmouse and why they have lost my respect as a brand, and my conclusion for this mouse on whether you should buy it or not.